whistleblowing and internal audit response at greatest entity. Name Hussain Mohammed, ID B25762248. Internal auditing A AAUD 4213. The context of the case is as follows. First, we will understand this scenario. Greatest entity operates in a highly regulated financial services environment. The whistleblower complaint reveals possible breakdowns in corporate governance. Allegations suggest weaknesses in internal controls and ethical oversights from the B board of directors. Financial reporting integrity appears to have been compromised in the organization. In regulated industries, even small control failures or breakdowns in corporate governance can lead to major compliance risks. Now, going forward in the second slide, we will understand whistleblowing as a control mechanism. Key whistleblowing issues identified. Revenue recognition manipulation violates accounting standards. IFRS 15 says follow the five-step model for revenue recognition. Expenses misclassification indicates poor monitoring and control enforcement. This is again a weakness of internal control. Off balance sheet raise entries raise concerns of deliberate financial concealment. This indicates clear fraud and misleading users of the financial statements. Now, fear of detection suggests that there is a lack of an ethical culture in the overall organization because no one is willingly wanting to follow the ethics. What is the key concept that we understood from this? Whistleblowing acts as an informal internal control when formal controls fail, as mentioned in the previous slide as well. Now, going in the next slide, importance of whistleblowing in organizations. Whistleblowing is very important in organization. Uh, what does whistleblowing help achieve? Supports transparency and accountability in financial reporting, especially when internal controls or importance of ethics is low in the company, as we saw in the case of greatest entity. Encourages employees to act as ethical gatekeepers, as safeguards of ethical, as the guards who ensure ethics are followed, because no formal policy to strictly follow the ethics. Another benefit of whistleblowing is it enhances early fraud detection and risk management in the organization. It identifies fraud before major risk occurs. Reflection. Without a trusted whistleblowing system, misconduct, fraud, manipulation, all of these things often remain hidden. Like no one in the organization knows of it until big external damage has been occurred. So whistleblowing is very important because if you don't have that trusted whistleblowing system, the fraud is going to exceed a very big level. The role of Chief Audit Executive. This is the slide where we learn the start of designing an appropriate internal audit process. Ensure the role of Chief Audit Executive is to ensure that each employee uses professional judgment and his or her own independence. Ensure whistleblower protection and confidentiality. This is again very important because if the culture of ethics is not present in the organization, whistleblowing becomes extremely important. Here you can see very important. A head of internal audit who has CIA qualification, which is certified internal auditor, he should have relevant experience in internal audit. Now, in case of greatest entity, he should have internal audit experience in Malaysia. Chief audit executive should escalate matters to audit committee to preserve independence. Like audit committee should be independent. Tell the audit committee and its head to apply professional skepticism when assessing allegations. They should use their own judgment, their own evaluation on whether this is a fraud or a misrepresentation. Avoid management interference during the investigation. Management should not interfere. Audit committee has to be independent. Key concept that we learned in this slide. The chief audit executive plays a critical role in designing an appropriate internal audit process. Internal audit investigation approach. How should the internal audit committee investigate? The audit committee should apply a risk-based audit application, perform a focused audit based on fraud risk assessment, test revenue recognition controls and compliance with IFRS standards, review expense approvals and authorization processes, ensure that there is segregation of duties. Like the person who records the journal entries should be different. Person who posts the entries to the ledger should be different. The person who has access to the SAP automated entry system, he should be a different person. Investigate off balance sheet entries and related party risks. This is entries. Reflection. What did we learn from this slide? A risk-based approach ensures audit resources are focused on high impact areas because you cannot test all areas of organization. You cannot do 100% testing of all internal controls. Audit committee should focus on key high risk areas only. Now, corrective actions and control enhancement. Now, what should the greatest entity do now once the problem has been identified? We will focus in this slide, we will focus on going from detection to prevention. Audit committee should report findings to governance body with clear recommendations. Strengthen segregation of duties within accounting function like journal entry, posting in ledger, access to SAP or automated bookkeeping systems to only authorized personnel. Improve the documentation and approval controls in the organization, like one who handles supplier statement, debit and credit notes. These all should be different people, not one person. Enhance whistleblowing awareness and ethical training organization. Tell everyone, promote ethical awareness, tell everyone why following ethics is important, why whistleblowing should not be uh, relied upon as the sole means by which risks are identified. Employees should willingly follow ethics. Key concept that we learned in this slide. Internal audit adds value by improving system, not just identifying failures. And corrective actions and control enhancement is very important. Conclusion slide. Now this is the final most important slide. We will make an insightful reflection and conclusion. In the final conclusion slide, we will summarize all that we learned in this presentation. The whistleblower complaint revealed serious weaknesses in financial reporting and internal controls of the greatest entity. Whistleblowing played a critical role in exposing fraud that formal controls fail to detect. Like when formal controls fail to detect a fraud, whistleblowing was our savior, the greatest entity's savior. The chief audit executive is responsible. Like he should be the person who initiates everything, who initiates the solutions to the problems. He is responsible to initiate the process of making an appropriate internal audit process to both highlight the issue in future when many more issues come and rectify the issue. A risk-based internal audit investigation helps identify, assess, and rectify fraudulent practices in the organization. Internal audit function should be headed by a qualified CIA, certified internal auditor, who will be head of internal audit, and that will be the key to solving all the problems. A strong and independent audit committee reporting to the BOT, strengthening internal controls. A strong and independent audit committee uh, reporting to the board of directors, strengthening internal controls, segregation of duties, strong governance, and promoting a real ethical culture, like where every employee willingly participates in ethical activities and follows the ethical code of conduct, is essential to prevent future misconduct and frauds in the organization. Overall takeaway: effective whistleblowing mechanisms and a strong internal audit function work together to protect organizational integrity and stakeholder trust.